Welcome all of you to this session on building smart money habits for financial well-being. I'm Walt Bishkeki. I am the Associate Director of Admissions at Vanderbilt University Graduate School, and we're delighted that you took time to join us this morning. We want to give you some concepts that will help you understand how you can get the most out of your financial resources and to manage your budgets and to stay out of debt. I'd like to start with just some brief introductions. We'd like to go around the room, and when I call your name, please say your name and which program you've been admitted to. So we'll start with Ariana.
Hi, I'm Ariana. I am admitted into the biomedical sciences, the master's program.
Glory.
I am Glory Dhanaraj, and I've been admitted into the PhD program in health policy.
Chang.
Hi, my name is Changli, and I have been admitted to the computer science PhD program.
Lily.
Hello, my name is Lily, and I've been admitted into the biomedical sciences PhD program.
Zhu.
Hello, everyone. I'm Xiu Yi. I was admitted by the PhD program of the Earth and Environmental Science. Thank you.
Sriyapu.
Hello, I'm Aprupa. I'm admitted to the Biological Sciences PhD program.
Divyesh.
Hi everyone, I have been admitted to the Computer Science Master's program.
Catherine.
Hi, I'm Catherine. I've been admitted into the Psychology PhD program.
How you?
Hi everyone, I'm Hao Yu, and I am admitted into the PhD in chemistry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ian.
Hi everyone, I'm Ian. I was admitted to the biomedical PhD program.
Emma.
Hi everyone, I am Aparia. I was admitted at the anthropology PhD program.
Ha. Nagoyan. Well, all right. I hope we haven't missed anybody. Let's dive into our session today. So by the end of this session on financial well-being, you will understand more about analyzing current spending and saving habits, challenges and opportunities with your finances, applying budgeting strategies, developing SMART, that's S-M-A-R-T, financial goals, and understand debt and how to manage it. But first, what is financial well-being? It's a state where a person can fully meet current and ongoing financial obligations and can feel secure in their financial future and make choices that allow enjoyment of life. This diagram shows financial well-being in 4 dimensions, and it shows how to balance security and freedom of choice with your present and future financial needs. So having security in the present means that you have control over your day-to-day and month-to-month finances. Having security in the future means that you have the capacity to absorb a financial shock, some unexpected expense. Having freedom of choice in the present means that you have financial freedom to make choices to enjoy your life, live the life that you want to live. Having freedom of choice in the future means that you're on track to meeting your financial goals. This diagram shows the relationship between your financial decisions and your personal values and your personal identity. What lifestyle do you want for yourself? Your values could include living alone, having nice clothes, downtown life, and maybe comparing your situation with that of your friends. We all are constantly comparing where we are in relation to the people around us. Your identity could include where you came from, the standard of living you've had up to now and what you expect to have going forward, and how your current financial resources can support the lifestyle that you want. So let's talk about budgeting. A budget is a tool that can help you manage your monthly and day-to-day spending with one goal of making sure that your expenses don't exceed your income, so you don't end up in debt. A budget is a plan for managing your income and expenses and is prepared for a definite time period. Some of you may have experience with personal budgeting already, and some of you may not. So hopefully some of the things that we'll be talking about will give you some helpful ideas. So let's define some terms in the areas of income and expenses. Total income and gross versus net. Your gross income is, of course, your income before taxes are taken out of your check. And your net income is what you actually keep after taxes. It's also known as your take-home pay. Your discretionary income is any income you have left over after all of your monthly expenses are paid. And this is your fun money, the money you can use to do the extra things that you want to do, like eating out, going to the movies, or buying a new watch, for example. Expenses also come in two basic varieties: fixed and variable expenses. Fixed expenses are the expense amounts that will be the same from month to month, like your rent. And variable expenses are the expense amounts that can change from month to month, like groceries, gasoline, or a concert ticket, or any unexpected expense that might come up. So what are some benefits of using a budget? Why are we talking about this in the context of your financial well-being? Well, a budget can help you understand your living expenses. Where does most of your money go? What are your largest and smallest expenses? This all helps you with planning and staying within the lines of your income. Paying off student loans. If you're paying off a large debt, you'll need to plan in order to do it in regular monthly payments. Plan for retirement. You may think retirement is a long way off, but it's never too early to start saving up money. Establish an emergency fund. Have cash on hand for unforeseen expenses that could exceed your monthly income, such as that big emergency car repair, or maybe having to suddenly take a trip across country, buy an airplane ticket for a family emergency or some other event. A budget can also help you pay your bills on time every time. So being mindful about your spending will reduce the risk that you overspend on the fun items before the bills are due. One good way to do this is to set up an auto pay. Most of your bills can be paid automatically with an automatic draft from your bank account, and then you don't have to remember dates of when things are due. A budget can help you establish and track credit. Some of you already have a credit history. Some of you may not have started with credit cards or have a credit history yet, but a good credit history and credit score will be important when you want to buy a house or a car or any other kind of loan that you might try to get. A budget can help you live within your means so that you don't spend more than the income that you receive. This means that you don't use credit cards as an emergency fund because debt can snowball fast with interest. Be a social deal seeker when you're budget conscious. So what does that mean? That means that you think about the value of things and you compare prices. Where can you find the goods and services you want for a reasonable price? You don't just take the first service or price that comes along. This could take some effort on your part to seek out, but the money you'll save will be worth it. For example, word of mouth can help you find a good, honest car mechanic who does good work and doesn't overcharge customers. Here's an example of a simple monthly budget spreadsheet. And this is what it can look like on paper for you to list your sources of income and your anticipated expenses to help you make sure that your total amount of expenses don't exceed your total amount of income. And there are a lot of templates out there, a lot of budgeting apps. Even Microsoft Word even has several different kinds of personal monthly budgets. I think this example may even be from a Microsoft Word template, but there are many different ready-made templates that you can just plug your numbers into. But essentially, you're going to be gathering this information on a single page, your projected monthly income, which will be your paycheck, and which will be any extra income that you might get from side gigs, like say you tutor people for money, or maybe you give music lessons on the side, whatever you might do to bring in a little extra money. You'll want to have that listed at the start of the month so you know what you're expecting is going to be your income. Next, you'll want to have all of your expenses, your fixed and variable expenses listed clearly. You'll know what most of these are. The fixed expenses like your mortgage or your rent, your phone bill, things like that. Your utility bills are usually going to be the same for electric and water each month. But then you'll also want to have money set aside to anticipate the variable expenses, things like your gasoline, if you have your own car, things like groceries. There might be some months where you spend a little bit more or a little bit less on groceries. Maybe you're hosting a party with friends and you'll be spending a little bit more on groceries. You can anticipate that and know exactly where you're going to end up and not have any surprises because you've used a budget sheet to anticipate what your expenses will be. And also, it's good to plan out how much you will spend on entertainment, going out with friends, going shopping, things of that nature. So a budget can help you answer the question, where does your money go? What amount did you spend? What did you spend it on? Did you spend it on groceries? Did you spend it on eating out? Did you spend it on Uber rides, on clothes shopping? A budget can also help you identify your needs versus wants. Do you need to buy a new jacket, or do you just want it because it's more current in style than your old jacket? Budget can also help you identify your one-time expenses, such as annual dues for some organization you may belong to, or a new software license. It's a good idea to set up an annual financial events calendar where you can plan ahead and know what expenses are coming up during the year. Like if you have a software subscription or annual fee or some dues, or have renew the registration for your car, all of these expenses that will happen, you can plan ahead, maybe save up a little bit for them each month so that when the expense finally comes, it's not such a big hit on your monthly income. A budget can also help you see your patterns of spending. How much money do you spend on eating out each month? For many people, that's their biggest variable expense, is eating out and entertainment, doing things with friends. Is that your biggest discretionary expense? It's good to know what you spend the most money on, so you can pay attention to that. The 50-20-30 rule is a helpful framework for thinking about how to allocate your income across your various expenses in a month. And so these are all percentages of your total monthly income. So in this model, you would be allocating 50% towards your essential expenses, such as your housing, your rent, transportation costs, whether that's gasoline for your car and car insurance, or Uber rides, things like that, groceries. 20% of your monthly income would be allocated to savings, building your savings account, paying off any high interest debt that you have. You may hear some people say you pay your bills, but the first bill that you should pay is to yourself. And what they mean by that is pay yourself by putting money into your savings account. And that should be one of the things that you set aside each month, as a little bit of savings. 30% of your monthly income can go to lifestyle choices, and that's things like your phone bill, your entertainment, how often you go out, and going out to eat, things like that. Here's another helpful framework for thinking about how to allocate your income across your various expenses in a month. And again, there are so many different models out there. You can find the one that's right for you, that resonates with you, makes the most sense. But in this model, we're looking at 35% of your monthly income going towards your housing expenses, 25% towards your lifestyle choices, things that you do for fun, 15% of your monthly income going to transportation expense, 15% of your monthly income going to debt repayment, for those of you who may either have student loans or credit card bills already, and 10% going into savings. So it's good to have a name for every dollar that comes to you, so that each dollar has a purpose and you're being intentional and understanding where the money goes when you spend it. Still, another helpful framework for setting financial goals is the SMART goals method. SMART is an acronym, and some of you may already be familiar with this, but SMART stands for, the S stands for specific. What do you want to do? Measurable is the M. How will you know when you've reached it? A, achievable. Is it in your power to accomplish it? R, realistic. Can you realistically achieve this goal? And T, when do you want to, at what time do you want to accomplish this? In what time frame? So let's look at a specific example. Let's say that you want to save up $500 to take a road trip with your friends over spring break. We can apply the SMART goals framework as follows. The specific, what do you want to do? I want to save $500 for a spring break road trip to Chattanooga with my friends. Measurable. How will you know when you've reached this goal? And I have $500 saved in my spring break fund. Achievable. Is it in your power to accomplish this? Yes. If I plan ahead and save a little at a time, maybe $125 a month saved over 4 months, starting in December. By March, I'll have the $500. Realistic. Can you realistically achieve it? Yes, but I'll have to make choices about spending in other areas like eating out or concerts each month. So maybe a more realistic goal is to start saving in November and spread the cost over 5 months. So saving $100 each month up until that spring break week. And T, the time frame. When exactly do you want to accomplish this? I want to have that $500 saved by spring break week, just when I need it. So that's one example of how you can just think through how to plan and execute a simple financial goal. There's also, as I mentioned earlier, a host of budgeting apps and models for you that are ready-made. Credit Karma, formerly Mint, for just about everything. The Mint app is going away, but mint.com is being replaced by Credit Karma. Good Budget for hands-on envelope budgeting. And the concept behind envelope budgeting is that each budget item has its own envelope where you deposit the budgeted amount of cash you'll spend on that item this month. You don't spend more than the cash in the envelope for that item. So if you put $300 in your envelope for groceries, that's all you're going to spend on groceries this month. You're not going to allow yourself to spend $500 on groceries, for example. So it's one way to try to control your costs. YNAB stands for You Need a Budget. And this is for hands-on zero-based budgeting. So the concept behind zero-based budgeting is that your income minus your expenses equals zero. That is, if you make $5,000 a month, everything that you give, save, or spend should add up to $5,000. In other words, every dollar that comes in has a purpose, a job, and a goal. Every dollar for simpler zero-based budgeting. Personal capital for tracking wealth and spending. For those of you who may already have an investment portfolio. Pocket Guard for a simplified budgeting snapshot. Honeydew for budgeting with a partner. And Fudget for budgeting without syncing accounts, without syncing the app to your bank account. So these are some of the budget apps that are out there. There are many more, and encourage you to explore and find one that works for you. Vanderbilt graduate students also have access to a special app called Grad Ready. And this at vanderbilt.gradready.com. This optional free tool includes information for managing your tuition, your budgets, your bills, all of your financial activities. So when you click on the link, you will need to create an account, and you'll always maintain access to this tool as a student. And even after you leave Vanderbilt, it's designed to help you understand your financial aid and manage your finances, and in the context of all the other financial activities that you will do. So let's talk about debt, the other side of financial well-being. What is debt? Debt is something, usually money, that is owed by one party to another. and reasons why debt is bad for you, and you should take steps to avoid going into debt. Debt encourages you to spend more than you can afford. And here we're talking about credit cards. Debt costs money. Your credit card debt often carries a high interest rate, which makes the total amount grow before you pay it off. That's one way that you spend more than you can afford. Debt borrows from your future income. You could become weighed down with monthly credit card bills that limit your remaining monthly cash flow. High interest debt causes you to pay more than the item costs because you're paying not only what you paid at the store for the item, but you're also over time paying extra money interest to the credit card company for carrying the balance unless you pay it off right away. Debt can keep you from reaching your financial goals. You have limits to what you can spend. And if most of your monthly income is going towards paying off debt, that's income that you don't have for other things that you want to do in life. Debt can keep you from owning a home. A low credit score can be a barrier to securing a loan. Debt can lead to stress and serious medical problems. That's fairly obvious, but I'll just say that there's no stress like financial stress. So definitely want to be proactive rather than reactive. Debt can hurt your marriage. There are studies that show that one of the number one causes of argument and friction between partners is money arguments. Debt hurts your credit score. We've also talked about carrying a lot of debt. What loan officers will look at will be your income to debt ratio. And if that is very high, if your debt is very much higher than your income, that will hurt your chances of securing loans or getting a good interest rate on those loans. So let's talk about tips for managing debt or avoiding it in the first place. So for starters, gather your data. And this is where the budgeting comes in. So you organize your statements and your bills with a good filing system. You need to be well organized. Make a financial inventory. Understand where the money is going each month. And that's one of the questions the budget answers. Lower your interest rates where you can. You can either negotiate with your current credit card company to get a lower rate on your credit card, or you can transfer the balance to a lower interest credit card in order to pay it off more easily. Pay more than the minimum on bills and credit card bills and debt that is due. Paying the minimum does not help you to get ahead of the interest that accrues on the balance. Increase your income. Can you do other side gigs like give lessons or tutor or maybe drive for Uber or other small temporary gigs that can bring in a little extra cash when you need it? Cut unnecessary spending. Where are you spending a lot of money? Are you eating out excessively? Are you buying too many new clothes? Maybe you should consider going to the thrift store and getting some used items that could serve you just as well. Also, create a new budget. If your current plan isn't working, start a new plan. Create an emergency fund. This is such an important principle because having some cash reserves on hand for unexpected expenses will keep you from having to use a credit card for money that you don't have. You'll be able to handle an emergency car repair or a plane ticket without creating a cash flow crisis for your other bills and expenses during the current month. Rent negotiation is another thing to consider. You can ask the landlord if the rent price is open to discussion. You may be surprised at their willingness to consider discounts for being a good tenant. You can highlight your strengths as a tenant, such as paying the rent on time. You always take good care of the property. You live in harmony with the other tenants. Maybe you even organize some community events with your neighbors. You can also inquire of your landlord about extending the lease, because some landlords will trade a lower rent for a longer commitment from the tenant, especially if you're a good tenant. You can also offer to the landlord to end the lease in the summer, because this is a prime time for landlords to find new tenants, and lots of people are looking for places at this time. So that would be an advantage, a benefit that you could give to the landlord. Research the property's value. This is an example of being a deal seeker. Is there another apartment around town with similar amenities for a lower rent? You could use this as leverage in the discussion with your current landlord, or you may end up going and renting that other place. Be open to compromise. Any agreement should be win-win and a good deal for both parties. We encourage you to negotiate directly, that is face-to-face, and follow up in writing. You may have a discussion and a handshake, but make sure you write it in an email or a letter so that there's some record of what you have agreed on. Have a backup plan. What will you do if the landlord won't negotiate and you need to find another place that better fits your budget? Think a few steps ahead to the downstream possibilities. So, next steps. What are some next steps you should take if you find yourself in debt? Well, first, you will want to sit down and draft a plan. You will want to set financial goals as part of that plan. Most people don't get into debt overnight. There's patterns and different events, circumstances that have contributed. So a plan and setting new goals are going to be necessary to help you get out of that situation. Understand your habits from identifying and tracking your expenses, and this is where the budget helps. Categorize your spending and saving. You have to be intentional. You have to have a plan. And identify future spending. As I mentioned earlier, it's a good idea to have a 12-month calendar and write in the expenses you expect to have through the year so that you can plan ahead and save up each month for those things. Maybe, like I said, a plane ticket for a summer trip, or annual renewal fees for your car registration, or a birthday dinner for a friend. We also wanted you to be aware of this resource to you as a new graduate student. We hope that you'll choose to be a Vanderbilt graduate student. So we're telling you about the Center for Student Wellbeing. The mission for the Center for Student Wellbeing is to create a culture that supports the personal development and academic success of students using an integrative, holistic framework. So some of the things that you can gain from the Center for Student Wellbeing are well-being, academic, and peer coaching, one-on-one. There'll be academic coaches, peer coaches that can help you with any academic issues, time management, finances, any other life issues, recovery support services, meditation and yoga, student-led initiatives, substance use screenings, awareness and prevention programming, and skill building workshops, similar to the presentation today. Today is more of a presentation. A workshop is more interactive. You can sit down with people who will help you figure out a budget model that works well for you so that you're managing your resources well. And while I'm thinking about it, I wanted to also let you know, these are not in the slides, but if any of you have ever used what's called a cost of living calculator, there are a couple of great websites. One is bankrate.com and the other is rentcafe.com. And basically what these will do is it will show you the comparative cost of living between two different cities. For example, let's say that you're making $40,000 a year in Houston, Texas. And if you had that same $40,000, how well would you be doing in Nashville, Tennessee with that $40,000? It'll show you if gasoline on average costs more in which city. It'll show you how much groceries cost in each city. It'll show you how much different entertainment and utility fee bills and things like that. So for those of you who are right now in your decision-making process and you're looking at the offers that you have between different schools, you can go to one of these cost of living calculators and figure in the stipend rates that you have in these offers from different schools and see how far that stipend will take you in terms of your cost of living in the city that you would be in. And you can compare between two cities. So bankrate.com and rentcafe.com are two places that you can go to do that. Again, I want to thank you all for taking time to be with us this morning and to consider principles of financial well-being. I want to open it up for any questions that you all might have at this stage. Ha Nguyen has a question.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, thank you for your presentation. Very interesting. About a way to think about budgeting. May I just ask a few questions, like a practical question regarding Nashville, if that's okay?
Sure.
Yeah, I read on the Vanderbilt website that the stipend we receive Monday, we have to pay back the federal tax. So may I know what is the current tax rate in Nashville?
Sure.
It's making sense. Yeah.
Sure. So we have a specific office here at Vanderbilt that gives tax help to students. We're not supposed to give tax advice or information, and frankly, we're not the experts in like what all of the current rates and regulations are. But there's an email address that I'll put in the chat where you can get answers to that specific question. It's the International Tax Office. And I will put that in the chat in just a moment. Okay. So it's ito@vanderbilt.edu.
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yes, may I ask another question?
Sure.
If you don't mind.
Sure.
I think there are a lot of international students here, and I heard in America, credit is kind of like a big thing, and like you mentioned, like a good credit score is very important when you live in America. So may I ask, what are some like practical ways if you were like a graduate student, you could like doing to start building your credit score?
So
I'm sorry, can you
ways,
hear me?
yes. So you're asking what are ways that you can build a good credit score?
Yes, as a
Okay.
graduate student.
Sure. So your credit score is related to your credit history. And what that is, do you pay your bills on time? Do you pay your rent on time? Are there any collection agencies that are trying to contact you about outstanding bills that you haven't paid yet? If you have any credit cards now, do you pay your bills on time with those? Utility companies also keep record of people who pay their electric or gas bill or water bill on time or late. And these are all things that when there's a credit score that's calculated, it's on I think it's up to 800 is a perfect score. And for most people, a very good score is going to be somewhere in the 600 or 700 range. But the credit score and credit history is your credit score is related to your credit history and whether you pay your bills and whether you pay your bills on time. So that is probably the best way to make sure that you have a good credit score is pay your bills on time. And, budgeting can help you do that. Budgeting can help you to make sure that you have enough money to pay your bills instead of spending too much money on the fun things that you like to do. You'll have everything planned out, and you can set up that auto pay with most of your bills so that you never have to worry about forgetting to pay a bill on a certain date or pay a bill on time. You can set that up so it comes out of your bank account automatically on a certain day of the month. So those are some of the beginning ways that you can start to build a good credit history. And the credit history is what they look at when they're determining. When I say they, I'm talking about anybody in the financial services industry, like whether those be people who decide about student loans, people who decide about car loans or house loans. It could even be a landlord doing a check into a tenant to see if there's any, if they have a good credit score, if they're likely to pay their bills and their rent on time. So those are a few pieces of advice. Hope they made sense. Hope they were helpful.
They do. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Sure. Are there any other questions? And it doesn't even have to be about financial matters. It could be if you have anything on your mind about the student experience at Vanderbilt. This whole week, we are having sessions like these on different topics, such as the Student Care Network and housing and Nashville neighborhoods and equity, diversity, and inclusion. We are here to answer your questions and give you as much detail and insight into the student experience at Vanderbilt so that you can have the tools you need to make your decision between the different offers you've received from different schools. Are there any more questions this morning?
Hello, hi.
Yes,
Hello,
I hear somebody, the audio is not too good.
Is it good now?
Yes, I can hear you better.
Yeah, thank you for your time today. It's not related to the financial well-being. I just wanted to ask, is there any, Slack portal or any Telegram or WhatsApp group for the admitted students? So that we can just find out potential roommates or just interact with them. Is there any such thing?
Sure. So some individual departments, the department that you're admitted to, some of them already have a Slack group or a Facebook new students group that they've set up. There's nothing centrally from the graduate school in that regard, but it's better for you to look at the department level anyway, because those will be the colleagues, the other students and peers that you'll be with. So that's one good way to make connections and find a roommate. There are on the graduate school website, we do have some links in the admitted students section. We have some links that will help you find apartments. And there's a roommate referral service link as well. So those are two places that you can look to start making connections with other students and to find a roommate and an apartment. So the graduate school website in the admitted students section, which is in the same section where you see the schedule of these events. And the other is to contact your department to which you've been admitted. Contact them directly and ask them if they have specific Slack or Facebook groups that you can join.
Okay, thank you for it.
Sure. Any other questions?
Yeah. Hello, Walt. I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I have heard that some banks in the America required the SSN number to apply for the credit card. So I want to know, how do international students apply for the SSN code? Yes, that's all.
Sure. So that is something that that our International Student and Scholar Services Office will help you with. If you are, so I take it that you're not yet in the United States.
Yes, I'm in China, international
Okay.
student.
Okay. So you are probably already in contact with our International Student and Scholar Services Office. They're the people who are sending you the emails about your visa paperwork and helping you through that process. And they're the ones who will help you. That's part of the visa and immigration process, is establishing that social security number. So you'll get more information from the ISSS office. And I'll just put that in the chat. So it's ISSS at Vanderbilt.edu. And another good resource, earlier I shared the ITO, International Tax Office email address. That's also in the chat. That's also a good email address to write down for any other financial related questions.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure. Any other questions this morning? Well, if not, again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this session. Thank you for your questions. And again, let me congratulate you on your admission to Vanderbilt University. You were chosen from amongst a very competitive applicant pool. And we hope that through these sessions and the relationships that you're starting to build with people here at Vanderbilt, that you find a sense of community and see a place where you can belong here, that will be a good fit for you and for your career goals. So please be sure to look at the other student information sessions that we're offering this week as well. Thank you, Glory, thank you on the budgeting apps and resources. We hope that this was helpful to everybody. So at 10 o'clock Central Time, which is in about 7 minutes, there will be another session hosted by a different person on the Student Care Network. So if you all are available, I hope that you will be watching that session as well. Thanks again so much. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at graduatesschooladmissions@vanderbilt.edu. Thanks, everybody.